Really, we're seeing growth all over, but particularly with the west side of town. I think Hobgood has been surprising to us. That area really is a no-growth area, but yet we have children who are wanting to come to school there. And I think it's because it's an excellent school, and it's proven that it's an excellent school. And that school stays kind of quiet. I think they are proud of what they're doing and really are about the work, and that makes a difference. And when you are working for children and actively working for children as that school is, then people tend to want their children to go there, and it is a semi-choice school, and so that makes a difference. I'm not sure really. The mayor has asked me where the children coming from, and I think probably we're seeing some filling in of homes that maybe were not rented or maybe were vacant, and we have families that are moving into town. I know I think Mr. Anderson will tell you that really we're on an uptick as far as the building of houses, but we're just seeing growth. Scales is past capacity. We actually have had to put in some portables. We call them cottages, learning cottages on St. Andrews. And we have Casa Lane that is right at capacity. We have Pittard that really is exceeding capacity, but we can still deal with that. It'll be tough though next year. So we're looking at having to have a new school in 2 years. We had thought that the addition at Hobgood would help relieve some on the east side of town, some with the Pittard zone, but that's not the case. We actually have more students in Hobgood than we expected this year, and so the 4 classroom addition that we have there, and it's already filled. So we're really pushed for room, and we're going to have a new school for our kiddos. Normally, Mr. Anderson is right on target as far as the number of children we're going to have, and this year he missed a little bit because we really didn't expect the influx that we've seen. And our big surprise was the busing. For us to get a bus, it usually can take about 5 months unless there's one here in town that we can purchase. We were fortunate to have 2 here in town that we could purchase, and then we've also purchased a special ed bus.
The city schools has experienced the growth, as Dr. Gilbert has already discussed, and one of the things that we're looking at is how do we handle that growth. Either we do it through the possibility of new buildings, we do it through additions to current buildings, we do it through portables, we do it through rezoning. We've looked at a combination of all of that, and we have added in Hobgood phase 1 of our construction. We added some classrooms and teacher work areas. Phase 2 of the Hobgood construction will be to add a new administrative area, a new library, new cafeteria, new dining room, and therefore put some existing spaces that are used for some of those things into use as classrooms and other support areas. So we're looking at expanding that part of the growth area. The other issue is on the west side of town we have experienced tremendous growth, and there's a lot of lots already approved for some new homes, and we're going to have to build another school over on that side of town. We're looking at a school to start with at least 800 students and with a core capacity of 1,000 students, so that we can possibly grow to that 1,000. At this time, we're experiencing growth that's a little more rapid than we had anticipated 5 years ago when we put this on the original capital improvement plan. So we're going to have to make the consideration fairly quickly if we're going to build that school for 1,000 students or build it for 800 and go from there.
Well, the first step in building a new school is finding a site, and that is sometimes problematic. For the new school on the west side of town, we're currently looking at 9 different sites. Those sites have been identified by the city planning department as being suitable, and they're in an evaluation process now. After we get the site selected, then we've got site analysis to do, geotechnical investigations, surveys, pre-planning information to make sure the site is feasible. Next step would be programming, and that involves usually taking the last school that we did, meeting with the principal and staff, reviewing what they like and what they don't like, making those improvements, and then we proceed on to the design phase. Now, in this particular school, we're evaluating whether to use a modified version of John Pittard Elementary or use a totally new design, which may be a 2-story school. After that, we design the building, produce the documents that the contractors bid by. We receive bids and start the construction phase. We've allocated 14 to 16 months for construction on this school, which would make it open in the fall of 2014.
The classroom of today is considerably different than what was designed 50 years ago, which Murfreesboro City Schools has 6 fairly old schools, and even 10 years ago. When we design schools today, we are concerned with sustainability issues. We design schools for maintenance so that to minimize the operational cost over the years. And of course, a big important impact today is the cost of energy to run the buildings. With modern schools, you typically have geothermal heating and cooling systems. You have the high efficiency light fixtures that use just half of the energy to light a classroom from 10 years ago. We will have computerized, digital controlled air conditioning systems to maintain comfort throughout the building. We'll have air humidity control to help maintain the indoor air quality. We also typically install motion sensors in the classrooms so that if they forget to turn out the lights when they leave, about 10 minutes later the lights will go out by themselves. We face many challenges today designing schools and trying to meet the new needs that has arisen since schools of the past. The new schools design can use less than half of the energy of schools designed even 10 years ago through these methods. There's also Murfreesboro City Schools has received grants and interest-free loans from the state of Tennessee to go into some of the older schools. This was recently accomplished for the heating and cooling system at Reeves Rogers School. So the new system has monitors on the indoor air quality and is much more efficient than the older systems. We've also retrofitted many of the schools with the newer light fixtures, again, that use about half of the energy of the past fixtures and produce really a better quality light for educational purposes.
While these are all going on, we're also doing other things to protect the overall buildings, like adding new roofs. Mitchell-Nielsen Elementary School has a roof that's been in existence since the beginning, and we're looking at putting a new roof now over the gymnasium area, and actually putting a different type of roof on there to protect the envelope of which is the building below. We've got to protect our overall buildings. Even while we're building new ones, we still have to keep our infrastructure strong. We're looked at any kind of additions to parking lots to handle the additional student growth. We've added transportation, more buses, because more people are realizing the cost effectiveness of actually riding a bus to school. So in dealing with growth for the school district, we have to look at it on many different fronts and on many different angles as how we go about this. We're adding an elevator to Bradley Elementary School. Bradley was built over 50 years ago, and back then it wasn't one of the code's requirements if we have an elevator. We're going to add that now because we believe in the concept of having people come in and support and work in the schools, and it has a restriction to it without an elevator. So we're putting an elevator in that, and we hope to have that done this summer. So we're going back and adding to an older facility and upgrading it to bring it to the more modern needs of today.
I think one thing that we're seeing in Murfreesboro City is we're seeing a real pride in our school district, and I think that is really spreading across the area. I think that we are viewed positively by the state. I think we're viewed positively by other school districts, and I think most importantly we're viewed positively by parents. I think parents appreciate the changes that we made, that we really are focused on children, we really are focused on the whole child, and we are determined to have each child succeed. And so as we have shifted and become more intentional and more focused, I think that what I'm hearing from the community is they're very pleased with what they're seeing as far as a product. And I don't like to think about this being a consumer situation, but I think we do have to succeed at what we say we're going to do, just like a business would do, and I think that's what we're doing, and I think it makes us more attractive.